Hola! HomeSlice is back with another review. I'm Travis, that's Brad.
Today we are looking at a Flat Top Glow DX Rock Camp Conakry Edition. And what else?
Lat 64, Frostline, Claymore, we have other plastics.
Alright, so we've got the rock and the compass. The rock, you can see here, it's got a pretty big bead. It doesn't feel that bad in the hand. It's not quite as big as the Rock 3, I don't think, the bead, but it feels okay in the hand, not great. The compass is a little bit better. Still has a little bit of it's almost a bead. I think you would probably consider that a bead. But it's not very noticeable, not nearly as noticeable as what it is on the Rock. The compass is definitely more comfortable in the hand. Still not great, but definitely a little bit better than what the Rock is.
First up, we have the Innova Rock in DX Glow plastic. Feels great in the hand. I like this plastic. It's pretty sticky stuff. It feels good in the hand. Onto the Rock, it's hyzer flip to flat, and it hyzers out. It's a pretty stable disc. We had a pretty heavy right to left wind going on. Throw it flat, it dances. It'll go to the right, flex out. Really, it didn't do anything too crazy on me. It didn't want to roll. It didn't fade out too hard. It's a pretty straight mid-range for me. That's an anhyzer. Just held it, land flat. I got really good releases with it. Forehand felt pretty comfortable in my hand. Just for touch flick tunnel shots, like most of the mid-ranges we use, it's just a touchy little flick and it just goes straight. It was a great flyer for me. Onto the Lat 64 Claymore. This orange Frostline was a little bit, it was a good bit beat, but it still flew really good and straight. It's a little faster, maybe a little bit glide, I'm not sure, but it flew really nice for me. On a hyzer, it just kind of flipped up to flat a little bit, faded out. Flat, it was just dead straight. This disc wants to go straight with, if you have similar arm speed to me. On an anhyzer, you could put it on a really nice flex line. Usually it would like to end just flat, not hyzer out. So you got really good distance on it. Very, very controllable mid-range, just like the Rock. When it came to forehanding, felt pretty good in my hand. Again, it's a straight mid-range. So really for me, I'm just hyzer flipping it to flat. Maybe a slight anhyzer just to bend around trees. It was a great disc too.
Alright, the Rock. When I threw it on a hyzer, it kind of flipped up to flat and then just rode that pretty straight and ended up kind of fading out at the end. It was not as stable as I thought it was going to be, at least not based on the numbers. When I threw it flat, it kind of turned over. You'll see from that overhead, it turned over and never really came out. It kind of landed flat, so I guess it was starting to, but it definitely turned a little bit. And on this big ante, especially with that right to left crosswind, once I exposed that flight plate, the wind just took it. So it definitely did not try and fight out. You can see it got a lot of right to left movement there. I also threw it overhand, and even throwing it at like 40%, it still flipped all the way over on me pretty quickly. So if you needed to throw it to get out of some junk, you could use it, but definitely not for power. All right, the Claymore. So the Frostline that we had was definitely a little bit more beat in. On a hyzer, it flipped up to flat, turned a little bit, ended up fading out at the end, but definitely a little bit more of that mid-flight, high-speed turn than what I was getting out of the Rock. When I threw it flat, still very similar flight to the Rock. Flipped over, or flipped a little bit and ended up fading out at the end. And then on an Annie, this was very similar to the Rock. I put it up there again. We had that right to left crosswind. So once that flight plate was up there, it blew it way across the screen. So it didn't really fight out of it, which you wouldn't really expect it to. Overhand, again, very similar to the Rock. It flipped over a little bit quicker.
What is up?
Recap time.
I picked the Claymore. So they're both great discs. I can see anyone liking both. Just purely for comfortability in my hand, I went with the Claymore. Also like their plastic types. I've never seen a Champion Rock. I don't know if they make it. Let us know. I like the premium plastics in my mid-range, or at least like a bio. I like that too, the recycled feel. Flight-wise, they were pretty similar. I was really surprised. I thought that the Rock would be noticeably slower, less stable, didn't go as far, but it was up there with the Claymore. I thought in the end of the day, the Claymore went a little further, maybe was a bit faster, but not a lot. So if you like the Innova molds, try out the Rock. I don't blame you, but for me,
If you like the Innova, yes.
Innova,
Yes.
yeah, I like the Claymore. It was great, actually. It will not be going in my bag. I've got EMAC Truths, which these flew really similar to, maybe closer to a Truth. I'm not sure. Very straight.
Yeah, I'm also going with the Claymore. It just felt better in my hand. The flights were very similar. I don't know. I don't think the Rock was definitely not as stable as what the numbers would suggest. They were very, very similar in flight. This won't go in my bag. It's pretty similar to my Mako 3, maybe a little bit more stable, but I have a beat-in MD3, so there's not really a spot for it there. It's a pretty straight disc. If you're looking for something like that, this would be a great option.
Good discs to learn a forehand too. I really like that stability, that middle of the range where it'll kind of show your flaws if you're rolling your wrist over or whatnot. I love them for just like little hyzer flips. Something to think about.
Yeah. Either one of them. I mean, if you like a bead, I think Trav said that. If you like the bead, go with the Rock. Or if you like Innova, try out the Rock. But I thought the Claymore felt a little bit better. So I like the Claymore. Trav likes the Claymore.
Whoa.
Also, check this out. Yeah, we'll show them that one. Check out Disqualified. Their link is always down below. The link is always down in the description. He's a friend of ours, and his dies are sick. Check him out on Instagram, Facebook. Let him know we sent you. But his dies are pretty awesome, so check him out. Thanks for watching. Check us out on Patreon. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on the YouTube, which you are right now. Thanks. Subscribe. See you later. Bye.
Peace.